Hi everyone, my name is Randy Cairns from HP Autonomy Corporate Marketing, and I'm here today with Robert Youngjohns, our HP Autonomy's General Manager and SVP. And this is the first edition of the Executive Spotlight. So we'd like to have a chat with
Randy.
Robert about his leadership here and
Sure.
what you're doing.
Yeah, look forward to that.
So welcome. And why don't you first just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your background and what brought you into the world of high tech?
Yeah, I guess I'm what people describe as a veteran of the IT industry. I'm not sure that's a good or a bad thing, or it's a flattering term or not, but it means I've been in the industry an awful long time, with IBM, with Sun Microsystems, and most recently with Microsoft. I joined HP just 4 months ago to take on this role, and largely because I'd been at Microsoft 5 years. I was doing much the same thing for those 5 years. I enjoyed doing it, but I was really looking for something different, something that was really challenging.
Great.
And this just seemed to fit the bill.
And what was attractive to you about coming to HP and specifically Autonomy?
It was probably Autonomy that was attractive. I mean, this was a business that clearly had its challenges, but has immense potential.
And so when you think about kind of HP Autonomy's place in the broader software landscape, what do you think about our kind of go-forward vision and direction? What do you think is so compelling about kind of the HP Autonomy story?
I think the thing that's really compelling about HP and Autonomy is a story that builds. And it starts by saying there are a number of parts of this industry that are still growing and growing very strongly. And one of those is the explosion of information and data, human information. I mean, the one thing you never bet against in this industry is the capacity and willingness of people to communicate with each other. You give them new tools, they communicate more. You give them another set of tools, they'll communicate even more. And so we start in a marketplace that's intrinsically growing. We've got some great foundational technologies with IDLE and all the products we've built on top of that. So that's great too. So we've got a great product on a market that's intrinsically growing. Add to that, we've got a whole bunch of great customer use cases. Lots of customers have taken our product and have exploited our product and are getting value from our product. And on top of that, we have a great set of applications that sit on top of our basic data platform. So you take a market that's growing, great foundational technology, great customers, and a great application portfolio, and you've got fundamentally a strong business.
That's really helpful. So if we go back to your first priority around customer satisfaction, I think all the HP Autonomy employees are very excited to hear that that's one of our top priorities. Could you kind of give a little color on how you're implementing that program? What are some of the things that you're doing to move the needle in terms of customer satisfaction?
Okay. Well, I think it starts just by getting everybody aware that's what we care about. And that's a really important starting point. I think it's also important to make sure that we get the two fundamentals right. One is you set expectations right when you're selling software to someone. Under promise, over deliver has to be what we do there.
Right.
So we've put a process in place to make sure that every time we put a proposal to a customer, someone from our professional services organization is going to glance an eye over it and said, does what we're bidding map to what we actually have? In other words, we're not selling futures here, we're selling product we have. Do we have a proper implementation plan? And do we have a view with the customer as what constitutes success? That's how it starts, making sure we set expectations right when we actually do the bid. I think the second point that's equally important is making sure that once we've sold the software, we continue to work with the customer for the duration of the project, registering that in the customer mind, cutting a check to HP isn't success. It's getting successful implementation of the product that represents success.
And I think what's interesting too is that the customer satisfaction priority is so intrinsically tied to the product roadmap priority, right? Because you obviously have to have properly funded and delivered products that are going to map to customers' needs and what they're trying to do. So if we could just now move to the product side. Obviously, I know that since you've joined HP Autonomy, you've traveled the world and met with a lot of our engineers and have really kind of rolled up your sleeves and gotten to know the innovation engine in our organization. Tell us what you've learned, what you've seen, what gets you excited about our innovation engine.
Well, we have a very substantial innovation engine. I mean, we have over 750 engineers out there, and each one of them every day is generating, great product, great new code, great new functionality. So I think it just starts by having a very talented team. You then look at what we're doing. I mean, obviously, like any development organization, you have a balance between sustaining engineering, about maintaining old products, but also looking forward into things we can do that are going to make a difference to the way our customers think about the data they hold, the information they have. And there's a huge amount of innovation going on in that space. And I've been privileged to see some incredible customer examples of how they use that innovation to make their businesses better. I met with one customer that's archived now over 1 trillion emails in digital safe. Now, archiving doesn't sound that exciting. But the technology issues, the computer science that goes in to storing that volume of data and then making it open for search is just incredible.
Tell us a bit about what we've done to work with the broader HP, and what's in it for the customer. Why is that good for the end customer?
I think there's some great examples already in a very short space of time of the way that the broader HP has been able to use Autonomy software in their solutions. I think in the printing area, the ability to use HP Flow is going to be a real breakthrough for them, and a breakthrough the way people think about information and the way information moves through an enterprise. I was actually chatting to an attorney in one legal firm we visited and just talked about the idea that with Flow you could walk up to a printer to select the document you want printed, as opposed to sitting on a PC or an iPad somewhere and trying to work it out.
Right.
And they were just so excited by that one simple idea. And that's just part of what we're thinking about with Flow. That's a great example. Using Orasma with the printing division again, with this concept of live paper. That's got everybody incredibly excited.
Maybe explain for the group what live paper, what you mean by that.
Well, the live paper is the idea that you can take a very boring document like this, you can hold an iPad, an iPhone, or another smartphone over it, and from this you can trigger some digital content. There was a great example actually just before the holidays in the UK when I was visiting. I just happened to pick up the Sunday Times, and at the weekend they have a magazine, and in the magazine they had an article about all the things you could do in the run-up to the holidays, and one of which was you could go to the Nutcracker, and you could hold your smartphone in front of the page, and out of the page the Sugar Plum Fairy seems to rise up and starts to do the great dance from the Nutcracker in front of you. Now that's maybe a gee whiz example, but in a live paper sense, imagine that you're bringing life back to what everybody thinks is a very sort of dormant and maybe even decaying media. Greeting cards that bring your kids to life. That would be so exciting, and we've got some great examples of how to do that.
Well, thank you again for joining us on HP Autonomy's first inaugural
wow.
executive spotlight. We appreciate it.
No, great.
Take care.